Okay. I think in the last class, so we have seen that with the support and help of his roommate, who was a roommate, James R. Wong. James R. Wong, a bright could make three-dimension models. We did not begin. Page number 37.
From beginning we have to start.
Only DNA we have reached. Okay, we will begin the page number. Okay, no problem. So, we are beginning with the 37. Okay. So, in the researches which he made on the 12 gold spots on the pupa, Ebright reached a conclusion that these gold spots help the pupa to become a complete, full adult butterfly. Therefrom, he again started a research on the wings of butterfly. He tried to graft the butterfly, the wing. From there, he reached the study on the cell life of butterflies. Cell life. That cell life led his theory into the cause of DNA. This was an unsolved or unanswerable question to the science till that time. And thus, Ebright gave an answer to the question puzzle of science about DNA and the cell life. So here, thereafter, Ebright and his college roommate, James R. Wong, worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. So, Ebright developed a theory on the cell life and DNA. This was on his research theory. So, in order to explain, in order to establish, he has to put into practice that one. So, the theory should be implemented. The theory should be made a real thing. Then only he would be able to substantially prove that this theory is correct. For example, by theory, you may establish H2O is water. 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen will make water. You may establish. That is a theory. But if others should accept this theory, then you have to prove it. You have to prove this is water. You have to add 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen and you have to produce water there. Then only people will accept the theory. Aditya, do you follow me? This is science. In this way, here Ebright proved the cell division, the hormone nature of gold spots. He proved DNA, but it should be established in a realistic way. Melvin, do you follow me? In a realistic way. So what did he do? He went for some practical work. He, with the help of his college roommate, sat together and made models according to the theory. He made models. So they drew pictures, underline, drew pictures, constructed plastic models of molecules. Surprising no one who knew him. those who knew about the qualities of a bride did not surprise, because they know the ability, they know the caliber, they know the quality of a bride. The friends who knew about a bride understood that he could do much more better. So it did not surprise those who know a bride. Richard Ebright graduated from Harvard with the highest honors. So he was graduated from Harvard University, world famous university, with the highest honors. Second in his class of 1,510 students. And he became second rank holder among 1,510 students, not 37 students, not 37 students, 1,510 students, among them he became the second. So he was very bright. A bright is bright in studies also. So a bright went on. Went on means continued. Went on means continued. Continued. So a bright went on to become a graduate student researcher. Underline. He was a graduate student plus researcher. Afsana, if you want to attend the class, attend there. Otherwise, you go from there. This is not a place to make comics and all these things. Is it a place to play? Whom are you playing there? So, he went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. So in the Harvard University, he was a graduate student. At the same time, he was accepted as a research student, PhD student, research student. So he could do his practices, researches, lab experiments there in Harvard University. If the theory proves correct, if his theory about DNA and cell division is correct, it will be a great step. It will be a big step. It will be a great leap. 3 words I told. It will be a great leap towards understanding the process of life. Underline. Understanding the process of life. So he was making the research on a particular science, cells and the life. So he had developed a theory. Hence you, do you follow me? Sir. Ebright had developed a theory. Now this theory should be practiced. For example, now Corona is going on. Corona is going on, side by side, isn't it? Like your friend. And every morning Corona will come to your gate and he will wish you, hello, good morning, should I come there or not? Corona comes in front of your gate and asks you, wishes you, good morning, shall I come? So what do? You shut the door. So Corona goes. Corona goes. So there are many researches going on to find a proper vaccine, proper vaccine. Every country is trying. Suppose some laboratory scientist may find out a particular vaccine. Theoretically, will you accept it? Ashik, suppose I have found a vaccine. Shall I use it on you first time? Ashik will say, I have trust in you. I believe you. You are good. But this vaccine, you try somewhere else, then I will take it, isn't it? The thing is that love is love, relations. But vaccine, you play on somebody else. The thing is that theoretically, the vaccine will be good. I am taking an example. Theoretically, the vaccine may be proved, but it should be given to somebody and should know whether the so-called result is there. So they may inject on some animals, they may try. Then they will inject on certain selected people, they will try. How much its result is there, how it reacts. After all these research and practice, then only it will be publicly accepted. Clear now? This is what is here. A Bright had developed a theory on DNA and cell division. The theory, the book has got acknowledgement, but it should be practiced. So he had to prove it in a realistic way. That is why it is told here, like here. You see, if the theory proves correct, when in theory it may be right, when it is applied, sometimes some fault may be there. You see, suppose we are learning driving. Melvin, we are learning driving, isn't it? So Melvin is given a book on driving, and Melvin said, steering, you have to hold this, and if you want to turn to left, you have to turn to left, then you have to change the gear, 1, 2, 3, and you have to press. Theory he understood by heart. And I gave a car to him to drive. What will happen? The neighbor's boundary wall may be broken, isn't it? Because when he wanted to stop, he may take the notebook. Where shall I press? Theory will be right. When we come into practical level, sometimes some drawbacks may be found. That much result may not be coming. So that is why he says, it is said, if it proves correct, it will be a great leap. It will be a great jump in the science, understanding the process of a life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. If it is proved correct, it may be an opening to the treatment of cancer. Because cancer is a disease that is damaging the cells of man, isn't it? So if we can successfully develop this theory on the cells, it can help the disease. All of this is possible because of Ebright's scientific curiosity underlined. Everything Ebright reached only because of his scientific curiosity. In the previous page we have seen another curiosity. What is that? What kind of curiosity? Driving curiosity, isn't it? So this driving curiosity took him to the levels of success. So scientific curiosity, his high school research into the purpose of the spots of monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. Understand? Underline. High school research into the purpose of the spots on a monarch pupa led him to the research and findings of cell life. It is we cannot say it is a casual. People People had seen many things casually. People watch many things casually as it happens. How many thousands and thousands of people had seen falling things from above, falling mangoes, falling apples, falling coconuts, isn't it? Things are falling from up to down. How many lakhs and lakhs of people had seen? Till the apple fell upon Isaac Newton's head, on the till previous minute, he was watching things are falling down. Clear now? Till it falls on his head, he was also watching things are falling down. He never thought of it. He never thought of it. When it fell on his bald head and it made dirty there, then he cursed that apple and said, does it get any other place to fall down? Doesn't get any other place? Only on my head? Curse it, Nasham. Clear now? This, when this rotten apple made his head dirty, that incident made him to think why it is not going up. From there only a theory developed, gravitational theory. Formerly Ashik was not studying. Formerly Ashik, how many times his mother I told him, sit and study man, sit and study man. He never opened the book. One day I went to his house. He was playing there. Evening 6:30, I called him, come here. I gave a nice slap on his left cheek. Go and study. When he got the slap, he understood the value of study. Clear. In this, that means, I simply said, okay. So what I am saying is that when we get a strike on our mind, we begin to think. That becomes a turning point in our life. Aditya Shankar, am I right? When we get a strike on our brain, it turns the life. Then we begin to think. That will be a turning point. In this way, when our Bright was walking on the basement of his house, he saw the pupa. On the pupa, he saw some gold spots. Very nice, very nice. Like the spots of your top. And he saw 12 spots are there on the pupa. Then it attracted his eyes. Then Bright thought, why this 12? Why can't it be 13? Why it is not 11? In all the pupas, there are 12 gold spots. Why? He began to think. This question changed his lifestyle. It was the beginning of the scientist Bright. That research reached him to the study of cell life. It was a long way. Richard Bright has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies. So everything started this collecting butterflies, his hobby of collecting butterflies. Today onwards, you can also start the hobby. Who knows? Later, what you will become. Sometimes you may become better than a Bright. So you start run after butterflies. Run after butterflies. He began with running after butterflies, but not so deeply that he hasn't time for other interests. Don't think that his only work was running after butterflies. He had no other interest. No, 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 no. He was chasing butterflies. He collected butterflies. At the same time, he had developed a number of extracurricular activities also in his life. Which are they? Ebright also became a champion debater. Underline, a champion debater. Who is a debater? One who takes active participation in debates, in seminars, A public speaker, underline, he was a public speaker. He got a number of prizes. Then a good canoeist, canoeing, boating, small boat, rowing the small boat, canoeing, banchi, isn't it? Rowing the single-seater boat, canoeist, and an all-round outdoors person. Whatever you want, you tell him, he will do it. He was an excellent boy, smart boy, and in our school we are giving all-round prizes, isn't it? All-round. So he was an all-round person. He is also an expert photographer. He was taking very good photos. Canon camera was with him, and he was taking photographs, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. His interest was on nature and of scientific importance. So he was a public speaker, he was a debater, he was an all-round person, he was a canoeist, and he was an photographer. So all number of activities he was doing. In high school, Richard Ebright was a straight A student. He was a very smart, excellent student, A grade student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and Model United Nation clubs. You see, for him, learning was easy. For us, what is the difficult thing? Learning was the most difficult thing. Why learning is most difficult thing? We are trying to learn for learning. We are learning because if I didn't learn, teachers will scold us. If I didn't learn, mama will scold us. If I didn't learn, Papa will scold us. If I didn't attend the online class, user's message will be coming. So, in order to satisfy many people in the world, we are sitting in front of the book. You are not learning. Am I right? Many of you. In order to satisfy many people, many are sitting in front of the book. When Papa looks at you, you are attending the class. You are reading the book. When Mama looks at you, you are studying. Sitting from morning 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock, then 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Coach is studying all the time. What is this? Coach is watching some other thing on the mobile. Coach is reading some other book. Daughter is reading some other book. Son is watching some other thing in the mobile. And sometimes mommy or daddy comes there. What are you doing? Mommy, don't come. Hey, I am watching the class. I am doing some certain things. Mone, now according to timetable, there is no class. Then what are you watching? Mummy, homework. Teacher has sent to the mobile and I have to open the mobile. You see, we are learning for somebody. Ultimately, we have to learn for ourselves. We should learn for Hadi Amin, your mic is on. We should learn for ourselves. I want to learn. I have to learn. I have to win the life. I have to come to a better marks. Then you will sit learn. At that time, you will enjoy learning. If you sit like that, you may not be knowing how the time is there. You will sit long hours. In this way, Ebright was learning, and for him, learning was a hobby. You see, since he makes learning as a hobby, he gets a lot of time, leisure. So this leisure time he could spend for some other works. That he spends for his debating, he spends for public speeches, he used it for canoeing, he used it for photography. You see, in high school, because learning was easy, underline that sentence, you have to learn by heart. Mama, for Ebright, learning was easy. How is about me? For me, learning is very difficult. Learning is very difficult. Enjoy learning, my son. Love books, love the subjects, you will enjoy learning. So if you enjoy learning, learning will be easy. He turned a lot of his energy towards the debating seminars and Model United Nations club activities. He also found someone to admire. He found a person whom he admired as his motivator. As his motivator. Who was the motivator? Richard A. Weir, underline. Richard A. Weir was a motivator to Ebright. His social studies teacher. His social studies teacher was Richard Weir and advisor to both clubs. He was a great motivator to him. Mr. Weir was the perfect person for me, then underline. He says about his social science teacher. He opened my mind to new ideas. So, Mr. Weir was the perfect person for me then. So he found in Richard Weir, his social science teacher, a perfect guide for him. He opened my mind to new ideas, not only science, to debating, to canoeing, to photography, to different levels. He sent my ideas. Richard would always give that effort. So his teacher says, Richard would, these are the sentences you have to learn with proper attention. Richard would always give that extra effort. He is ready to spend more time, extra time. His teacher says, what pleased me was, here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night during doing debate research, besides doing all his research with the butterflies and his other interests. So this was a comment made by his social science teacher. What it makes me think about Ebright is that Ebright makes researches on butterflies in the evenings. After such a tiresome researches, After that, he spends 3 or 4 hours in practicing debating. Suppose after your studies, if I ask you to write some pages of assignment, what will be your mood? Sir, I am tired. This much time I was studying. This assignment I shall write tomorrow, sir. Isn't it? Our general mood will be like that. We are not happy. We are not ready to do such kind of hard work. Unless and until you do hard work, we will not find success in our life. All successful persons reach the height doing hard work. Here, Richard Bright doing his regular studies and researches for 3 or 4 hours in the evening. After the completion of such kind of works, he sits again 3-4 hours for his extracurricular activities, practice. If I ask you to sit like that, what you would say? Next question will come to me. Sir, when shall I sleep? When shall I sleep? A bride did never think about sleep. He think about his works. When you begin to think like that, in you the growth starts. Otherwise, you will be passive. You will have a normal life. You will have a normal studies. Unless and until you try to begin, think differently, the growth will never start. So Ebright was like that. You see, from the life of Ebright, we have to learn many things. Richard was competitive, underline. Richard was competitive. How many among you are competitive? If it is sports, you will be competitive. In studies, I would say each student should be competitive, but not in a bad sense, underline. You should be competitive, but not in a bad sense. Your competition should be creative, write it. Your competition should be creative. Your competition should be constructive, construction. Your competition shall not be destructive. Very important things you have to understand. Your competition should be constructive. Your competition should be creative. When you develop yourselves, you should have the mind to develop others also. He is competitive. You see, I see a lamp, candle, burning candle in Aditya's hand. Aditya is holding a candle in her hand, burning candle. I have a new candle with me. I went to Aditya. Aditya, shall I light it? If Aditya says, no, this is my candle, you can go somewhere else and you candle it. It is destructive. Destructive. If Aditya says, okay sir, you light it from here. When I will light my candle from Aditya's candle, Aditya, do you lose any light?
No, sir.
No. Without losing her light, she is lighting my candle. Am I right? This is constructive. This is generative. This is creative. Clear now? For example, Pavam Arjun went to Savio. Both are very good at studies. First rank, second rank. Katta ki katta, isn't it? First rank, second rank holder. So Arjun went to Savio and asked, Savio, what is the meaning of that sentence? So Savio Pavam, he told the meaning to Arjun. Clear now? Arjun studied 99%. Only one question answer he does not know. That he got it from Savio. Now, any question paper comes, he will get a full mark. While Savio was studying, he got a doubt. He came to Arjun. Arjun, can you tell me this meaning? So Arjun thought, if I tell this meaning to him, then he also will get 100%, isn't it? Then Arjun, what did he say? Hey, Yada, I don't know. I was also searching that meaning. He knows the meaning. He said, I don't know that meaning. I also will search it out. When I get, I will tell you. And after the exam, he will tell him. Before the exam, he won't tell you. You see? This is what is called destructive. Destructive. Ashike, destructive. Clear now? Ashik is tired, so I am going to stop it. Ashik told me that it is time, isn't it? Okay, so what I mean is that it is constructive competition or destructive competition. You should have constructive competition or you should have a creative competition, but it shall not be in bad sense, it shall not be destructive. A bright grew in his life. A bright became a scientist with a competitive mind. He had some vashi in his studies. He has, that is the thing. A competitive mind. You also should have a competitive mind. If you don't have the competitive mind, you will not be able to grow high and high. Okay, here I stop. The rest we will see in the next class. Okay, thank you.